Hello and welcome to another Royal Reviewer live pop-up chat. And my goodness, we have a bevy of royal stories. So since my weekly live chat, which I did on Saturday, if you haven't seen it, do go back and have a look. A bevy of royal stories has come about. So of course, the day before Christmas Eve, I have to pop on and address a series of stories. So today we will be talking about, and I will get to at some point in this video, Harry and Meghan's Sandringham arrangements, which possibly have changed. We also have the Boxing Day shoot to talk about. Doria, what's happening with Doria? We need to talk about that. We also have the hardest working royal of 2018 to talk about. And also the Queen at Sandringham Church today. Oh, and a little bit on Samantha Markle. I'm sorry, but a teensy little bit of Samantha Markle at the end. Yes, bear with me on that one. But before we start off with the Harry and Meghan story, because potentially arrangements have changed, if indeed they were ever the proposed way in the beginning. But of course the media have seized on it and are now saying about the feuds and the rifts and all the rest of it. So, because it's Christmas, I wanted to sing you a little song which is quite pertinent to what's going on, I think. So I haven't got music, so I'm so sorry. You do have permission to put your fingers in your ears. But anyway, here we go. I may use a microphone. Okay, I can use my black fan as a microphone before we get into the chat. Okay, so let's go. Why do I do this? It's Christmas time, and there's no need to be afraid. At Christmas time, we let in light and we banish shade. And in our world of plenty, we can spread a smile of joy. Throw your arms around the world at Christmas time. Ta-da! There you go. Spread a smile of joy and throw your arms around the world at Christmas time and let in light and banish shade. There's the shade. So you will see why I sang that song. I'm going to go to the chat room, by the way, and before we kick off. I'm so sorry I put your poor ears through that. I do apologise, I am so sorry. You didn't expect to log on and get earache, did you? Oh no, a lovely singing voice. Have you got something in your ears? There's a few cheers of thank you. Did I do Boy George justice? Okay, right, straight into the video. Okay. Harry and Meghan at Meghan? Who's Meghan? Harry and Meghan at Sandringham. So, there's been a whole saga, hasn't there? Let's first of all start with the beginning, which is always a really good place to start, I think. We should always start with the beginning. So, as it was nearing and getting close to Christmas, there was a whole load of speculation about who would be attending at Sandringham at Christmas and where they would stay. As we know, Sandringham has limited space. It's still a big country estate, but when you've got 30, possibly 40 family members coming to stay, bedroom space is still a little bit tight. So, there was speculation as to where Harry and Meghan would stay, in particular with regards to the tensions and the feud and the rift and the falling outs. So it was proposed, I think, well rather the media said that it was proposed, that Harry and Meghan would spend Christmas at Anmer Hall, which is only a couple of miles away from Sandringham, which is William and Catherine's country home in Norfolk. They would stay there this year like they did the previous year. Now, let's not forget, the previous year, Harry and Meghan were unmarried, and it was Meghan's first time at Sandringham as a non-royal. She was a guest. But this year, obviously, she is married, and she is a member of the royal family. So, with all the rift talk and the rift rumours, people were speculating that maybe they would stay with William and Catherine. Then there was the whole question of, is Doria coming? And I remember in my last live chat about this, I said, well, if Doria's coming, perhaps they wouldn't necessarily stay at Anma, because having your brother's mother-in-law in your home, I know it's Doria, I know we know who it is, but slightly awkward, kind of. I tried to liken it to my own situation, and it would be a little teensy bit awkward. But then we've seen... oh no, actually I'll get to that bit later. We'll do Doria separately. But then the rumours have changed. There is now a report in the Mail on Sunday, and I don't know what the source is. It is an unconfirmed source. It's one of these royal sources thing. But anyway, it says that Harry and Meghan will stay with around 30 family members or guests at Sandringham, which is the Queen's family estate in Norfolk. So actually staying with the Queen. Now the press are already saying it's a snub playing up to the feud rumours. I knew they would. That's why I sang "Let in light and banish the shade." They're trying to cast shade and I don't like it. Like I say, they stayed at Anma last year. The space at Sandringham is limited. Staff quarters are used as well as the cottages. Now, therein lies a key, I think, to the whole thing. So let's just look at why potentially Harry and Meghan may stay at the main Sandringham house rather than Anma with William and Catherine. So the first change from last year is that Harry and Meghan are now a married couple in their own right. I'm not saying there was, but there may have been something to do with them being unmarried, which is why they potentially didn't stay at the house, and which is why they stayed with William and Catherine last year. Or it could have just been space. I don't know. But whatever reason, perhaps they were given one of the cottages on the estate to stay at whilst over the festive period. It's possible, being a newly married couple and pregnant as well, maybe having their own actual cottage may have been an option, because we don't know necessarily if they're going to be staying in the main house or a cottage. So potentially a cottage, I think, would be quite suitable on the estate. And like I say, I also think if she is staying at Sandringham, it may also be to make Meghan feel welcome as a newly married into the royal family member. So there's quite a few reasons why they potentially may be staying in the main Sandringham house that's not a snub. So instantly the media goes for the negative and they don't look for the positives. And I've just mentioned a few positives which could be the reason. But of course, I'm sure people are going to be carrying on with all the negative news. Let's just see what people are saying. Oh, Tom Riddle from Harry Potter says, "I'm new to this, what's going on?" We talk about the royal family. Sheila says they compared the rumours to what happened with Diana. That's why they said some must be true. If rumours start, there is something behind, maybe. Well, not necessarily. It could just be paper talk. Danielle says, maybe like one of us prefer to sleep in their own bed. Well, obviously Harry and Meghan won't have their own bed. But yes, I certainly think their own quarters, their own cottage would be quite good to spend over the Christmas period, depending on obviously how long they're actually staying there for. Lou Guy says, "Sweet Serenity, thank you. I only see what is set up on my side." Hello to Judith in Barbados. Mrs. VSN says, "I think it's great that the Sussexes stay with the Queen. Let her experience it once." Yes, I agree. It's her first Christmas as a married royal, and I think that may have a lot to do with the sleeping arrangements. I really don't think it's going to be a snub. And yes, fake news is casting shade. My goodness. Mrs. VSN says, "I took a screenshot and a Google search. One media outlet said they are spending their first Christmas with the Queen." That's, I think, the one that I'm reading too. The Daily Mail goes with Meghan and Kate won't be staying together. Straight to negative. They do. They go straight to the negative when, like I say, I've just thrown out some positives, which is definitely what I think it might actually be. Pat says, "I love your pretty headband. It is a replica Spencer tiara. Can you see? Can you see the Spencer tiara?" It's quite a good replica. Sheila says, "They pack them in like sardines. Why wouldn't they choose to be with William and Kate?" Well, okay. if you were invited by the Queen specifically to stay with her in her home at Christmas, would you then say, let me think about it? No, I'll stay 2 miles away down the road. I think that would be slightly impolite to refuse that. Yes, Anne Hall will probably be more spacious. It's William and Catherine's main family home, other than Kensington Palace, obviously. It's their country home, I should say, rather. But if you are specifically invited by the Queen, I don't think you'd turn it down. I definitely don't think so. I'm going to move on slightly because we aren't actually going to know where they will be staying until, obviously, Christmas is here and the royals have arrived at Sandringham. The bulk of the royals arrive on Christmas Eve. So tomorrow, if we hear reports of Harry and Meghan staying at Sandringham, I think it will be a lot more believable tomorrow as to where they're staying. So for now, I'm just going through the stories and the rumours and trying to kind of work things out. But tomorrow, we will know a lot more about where they are staying, and then we can look at the whole situation again. But I certainly don't think it's a problem if they are staying with the Queen at Sandringham. It is polite, if you have been invited to stay with Her Majesty, to stay with Her Majesty. I really don't think that you would turn that down at all. The greater Bilby says, nope, couldn't refuse the Queen's invitation to stay, definitely not. You see, when someone puts it to you like that, you think, no, I wouldn't refuse. I wouldn't refuse that, would I? Yes, I think it would be a good PR move, but then again, the royals do not have to pander to PR. Just because the papers and the media are saying something, it doesn't mean that they have to play into those hands, because as soon as they do, then the news and the media have got you. So actually, you know, well done to Harry and Meghan for sticking to their guns, and actually doing what they want to do. And if they've been invited to stay with the Queen and that's what they want to do, then good for them. I applaud you. Let in light and banish shade. Okay, the Boxing Day shoot. So Harry missed last year's. I found out, this is what I'm trying to tell you. Harry missed last year's one, not because Meghan banned him. He was actually attending a meeting the following day. So he had to drive to London. Whether he was driving himself or chauffeured, it makes no difference. He couldn't attend because he was returning to London for a meeting the following day. So that is why. However, he is expected to attend the shoot this year again on Boxing Day. We will know a lot more from reports as to whether he was there or not. So there we go. Moving on to Doria. Again, there have been photographs of Doria in America as of yesterday, I think. So she certainly hasn't travelled to the UK yet. There's still potentially time for her to arrive, but I don't think so. I don't think now we are going to be seeing a Doria. If we do, amazing. That will be great. I hope that we do, but I think it's probably doubtful now that we will see Doria. I think she may have travelled to the UK slightly sooner. It's not impossible. It's not, you know, it is. There's still a chance, so you can keep your hopes up if you want, but I wouldn't get them up too much because I don't think so. I don't think she will this year. But we will wait with bated breath to see if we see a Doria or if we see any Doria movement going on. I'm going to move on again because we have a whole bevy of stories. Princess Anne has topped the list of the hardest working royals. Now, this latest poll is actually done by days' work. So it's not total of engagements, although Anne regularly tops that chart too, but it's days worked rather than royal engagements. And there is, I've written down days versus engagements, because if you are a royal and you are on, for example, an away day, you may do something as much as 4 or 5 engagements in one day. You may do less, but you can do, 5, 6 engagements in one day. So the days worked isn't necessarily representative of how hard a royal is working. So I think we should bear that in mind. And also, we should bear in mind that the younger royals are focusing more intensely on projects like the Heads Together initiative, or all the time, for example, that Meghan spent with the Grenfell cookbook, the Hub Community Kitchen. And there is so much work that doesn't get put in the court circular, which records all of these engagements, that goes on behind the scenes, that's not recorded. So it's not a true representative of how much work goes in. But anyway, let's go on. So Princess Anne has topped the chart, followed by Edward and then Charles, and that is in terms of days worked. Princess Anne has topped this list for at least the last 3 years, I do believe. So she has worked 180 days in the past year. Like I say, these days for Princess Anne are usually cram-packed full of engagements. Her away days are very, very busy. But the one that I like to see is the tally of the engagements rather than the day's work. 'Cause like I say, it is slightly misrepresentative, kind of. Prince of Wales. Oh no, hang on. Not Prince of Wales. I've put Prince W. It's Prince William, not Prince of Wales. So Prince William worked 120 and Prince Harry worked 90. The Duchess of Sussex, Meghan, worked 50 since May. And I think because Catherine came off maternity, she's kind of around about the 50 mark as well. So Catherine and Meghan have kind of done the same amount of engagements since. Lady Buckingham says, but it stopped JLS and it was also those expressing their opinion too. Oh, I don't know what's been going on while I've been talking. Wendy says, sick of the negativity. People should let in light and banish shade. I'm going to keep saying that all the way through. I think there's been a lot going on in the chat room while I've been ranting at you. Nefeta says, I think Doria is allowing herself to be seen in America to stop all the drama. That is a possibility. Seaside Mom says it's also been reported here in Canada on a reputable TV news station that she's spending Christmas with her friends in California. That's probably likely. I mean, like I say, we haven't seen Doria stepping onto a plane, stepping off a plane, or anywhere in the UK. And she was photographed in California as of yesterday, so I'm not expecting her now. Disappointed, but no. If that's what she wants, then that's what she wants. And I'm going to turn the page on my notes because we have a few more stories to talk about too. So today, of course, is Sunday, and the Queen is always spotted on a Sunday, leaving Sandringham for church. So who was with the Queen this week? It was the Wessexes. The Wessexes were with the Queen. So the Queen was dressed lovely. She had kind of like red trim, and she had a red trim umbrella because it was raining. It was really raining. She was seated next to Sophie Wessex, the Countess of Wessex, and I think in the front of the car was Prince Edward, and on the other side, opposite Sophie, was Lady Louise in the car. And I didn't see James. Maybe he was there, but I didn't see James in the photographs. So the Wessexes are actually at Sandringham now. Like I say, the bulk of the royals do turn up usually some point on Christmas Eve. Camilla is, I think, sometimes the last to arrive, not necessarily at the same time as Charles, because obviously she has her own children and her own grandchildren, so she's being a dutiful mother and grandmother to them. I mean, there is quite a lot for Camilla to kind of squeeze in to a royal Christmas. So yes, the Queen was looking very gorgeous and lovely, attending church, and we will see, obviously, who is at church on Christmas Day. Nazarama says, I can't wait to see my favourite Duchess, Meghan. The Greater Bilby says, Lady Louise is so tall and elegant. She is tall. I noticed how tall she was when she was standing next to Sophie, her mother. She is really tall, but she looks so much like the Queen. I am, like I said before, very intrigued by the Lady Louise. Hello to Scott Goff. What's my astrology sign? Leo. In fact, my birthday is the same as Meghan's, the 4th of August, and the late Queen Mother, who was also the 4th of August. I have a royal birthday. Sweet Serenity says, Edward, be still my heart, lovely man inside night. I like Edward. I think he's sweet. I think he has a good spirit. I like Edward. Let me see. I'm trying to get some comments. Rhonda says, I like that Sir Elliot gives us updates of all the royals' engagements. As an American, I was very surprised when I started following me to see how much the entire royal family does. They do, and like I say, I hope that if people have come to the royal family and to my channel for perhaps Meghan, that I hope that they're seeing other royals that they're also interested in too, and obviously seeing that other royals do lots of work too. Floss and Rug Payne says, Lady Sarah Chateau intrigues me. I like Lady Sarah. I think Lady Sarah is great, and she's obviously very, very close and has a very, very close bond with the Queen. So yes, I think we will probably expect to see Lady Sarah and her husband Daniel and children at Sandringham at some point. In fact, I would probably say she's getting ready to make her way to Sandringham very, very soon. So yes, Lady Sarah, I think, will definitely be at Sandringham this year, and I hope we get to see her walking to the church as well. Lou Guy says, yes, that's how I found Zara. I like Zara. I like all of them. But yes, Zara is lovely too. Zara, very much, I think, has inherited the Duke of Edinburgh's kind of style and take. Obviously, she got that from Princess Anne. Princess Anne got it from the Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Philip. So I think that I can definitely see Prince Philip in Anne and Zara. I think that kind of personality has passed down. The sort of no fuss. That kind of no fuss notion. Zara is very no fuss, and I like it. Veronica says, considering that the Duchess of Sussex has only been married for 7 months, 50 engagements is a great achievement. And it doesn't count all the work behind the scenes as well. We know about all the private visits, well, some of the private visits, I'm sure we don't know about all of them, that she's made to the Hub Community Kitchen. We don't even know about other projects that she's working on, which will probably just surprise us with. So be careful when looking at the number of days worked. It doesn't necessarily equate to engagements, and even when you're looking at number of engagements, it doesn't equate to work behind the scenes. And also, if you're being very deeply involved in a particular project or a theme or a charity, for example, it doesn't necessarily take into account all that work. So it's an indication rather than a true representation of how hard the royals have worked. But Princess Anne does, it is true, Princess Anne does regularly top both polls, well, tally charts rather, in terms of days worked and number of engagements. And the Queen, of course, still working like a tireless workhorse. Marianne says, I'm impressed Catherine's number is so high since she's been on maternity leave. Yes, obviously, you know, her tally would have been started since maternity leave. And yes, I agree, Baby Sussex will be very interesting to see. Sorry if I'm not reading all the comments. Quite a lot to get through. When will the Queen's Christmas message be aired? It's always Christmas Day, and it's always at 3 p.m. GMT, that's UK time. And I believe it's being broadcast on social medias and major news networks too. So do watch it. My Christmas message I've recorded. You may have seen the premiere screen come up. Mine is going to be at 3:30 so that you can watch the Queen. So I will be there, hopefully, to be with you when that is premiered. So do set the reminder. Betty says, Meghan is a good lass. She hasn't been putting anyone down. She has ignored the negative press and has remained dignified, dutiful and respectful. I would agree. I think she's played it really, really well, and she's just done her own thing, and she's just carried on, which I think is the most important thing. And like I say, don't play into the media hands. That's what they want, because then they can get more stories out of it, and then it just runs on longer and longer and longer. So I'm really pleased that they are doing what they want to do. And yes, the Queen's Christmas message is always pre-recorded. So yes, just like I pre-recorded mine, the Queen pre-records hers too. But she does write the speech herself, and she always picks the theme as well. And actually, because of all the nastiness going on, the theme of my Christmas message is kindness. So if you don't get it from my speech when you hear it. The message, the theme is kindness. Being kind to one another. Random acts of kindness. SD or SD says, love the song, very nice. You're welcome if you made it past the song. Well done. Alicia says, what is Meghan's new last name? Like, for example, would you call her and Harry Mr. and Mrs. Sussex? No. Technically, if you have a title, you don't have a last name. You may do if you're, for example, an aristocrat that has a family name, but in terms of the royal family, who kind of have a house name rather than a surname, although the Queen and Prince Philip did kind of instate Mountbatten Windsor for generations down of their descendants. But anyone with a title, if you are a HRH with a title, you don't necessarily have a last name. Harry and William did use Wales when they were in the army, although it's not kind of an official last name. Can you still see me? My screen seems to have paused. Let me know in the chat if you can see me. Or have I gone off completely? Hang on. Please, can somebody type if you can see me and hear me? Okay, yes, that's fine. People are saying frozen. They see me. I'm frozen. Can you hear me? Apparently screen is frozen, sound only. Okay. I don't know how to unfreeze it. Hang on. Is there anything I can do? I don't think there's anything I can do. Oh no, you can just hear me. Okay, I don't know how to unfreeze it. I am so sorry. Maybe... yeah, I don't know how to unfreeze. Okay, I am so sorry. I don't know how to unfreeze. Can someone try refreshing your screen just to see if it kicks it off? I don't know. I can see on my own screen that I'm frozen. Okay. I don't know what to do. Shall I... See, I can't even click off, I don't think. Oh, I can. Hang on. I can turn it off and go live again. I don't know. I've even forgotten where I was at. Where was I at? I can't even remember where I was at now. Can someone tell me where I was at? Oh no, I don't like being frozen. I suppose I should let it go. Hang on. No, oh yes, last names. I was talking about last names, wasn't I? Okay, what I will do is I will finish talking about the last names and then I will end it. Because I don't like being a frozen screen. Okay, so last names. William and Harry used Wales, but that wasn't official. But Harry and Meghan go by the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Or the Duke of Sussex, or the Duchess of Sussex. They don't technically... They have a house name, which is still Windsor. But they don't necessarily have a surname. You wouldn't call them, for example, Mr. and Mrs. Sussex. So they would go by title alone, is the answer. Okay, I am just going to turn this off and end it now. So if you have enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up. I will probably pop on at some point and do another pop-up live chat. I may even pop on in a moment, I don't know. Hit the notification bell, make sure you are subscribed, and thank you for watching and have a great Christmas. So from me in Shropshire, goodbye.